It is the Broncos versus the Sharks. The Sharks had to do it tough last week. It was an absolute. Well, obviously there was the controversy, but it was a great game to watch. Probably the game of the round. The Broncos are once more doing it tough as they go through yet another iteration of their back line, as now Darius Boyd is your first choice fullback. Milford goes into 6. Dearden keeps the 7 jersey. But they do welcome back Jake Turpin in the 9, which it can only be a boost for them at this point. Any player that they do bring back at this point has to be just a blessing at this right now for them.
Yeah, for sure. Corey Pay hasn't been playing awfully by any stretch, but Turpin has the experience from last year. It's good to have him back for the Broncos. But they're coming up against a team and the Sharks that are in a rich vein of form right now and some scary point-scoring form at that. We're pulling up the stats and insights powered by Sportsbet. No, not sponsored by Sportsbet, for those asking. I just can't be bothered setting up another betting account. So these are the odds we get off. Obviously, they fluctuate. So there's your forewarning if you are here for the punt and not for our incredible insight. The Sharks have scored at least 24 points in the last 5 games. They've won 5 of their last 6. Every game all the last 5 games have gone over 40, 50. I can't do math right now. At least 50 points in the last 5 games. It's very hard to not offer a tip on that one. I mean, it's hard to look at, and it's hard to go against the Sharks here. The Broncos are starting to get some people back. One could argue that, supposedly Haas is a little iffy. He was with the recovery group on Monday, but he looks good to go. The only change, I think, for the Sharks is Dugan in for Goodwin and Connor Tracy. Oh, sorry, there's more changes. I apparently am blinder than a bat looking at team sheets. There's a lot of changes, but the Sharks, with the exception of Connor Tracy at 7, basically back to full strength. William Kennedy's making that fullback spot his own. He's really starting to get that combination with Sean Johnson rolling. Their forwards are just too good against the Dragons. Again, the forward pack, honestly, I have in favour of the Broncos. I think the Broncos have a better forward pack here, but you just cannot go past the Sharks with their attacking form and the fact that the Sharks are $1.54 on the head-to-head. Come on now.
So I mean, you look to the Sharks and their stats. This one screams blowout. I mean, the Sharks have scored 284 points, and the Broncos have conceded 337. All while the Broncos have scored 142 and the Sharks have conceded 248. It screams that the Sharks are not the best team defensively, but it also shows that they have the points to not even really be that bothered about the fact that they're not the best team defensively. So when you've scored that amount of points, you just know that you're going to get more tries. The Broncos, I can see, as daft as it sounds, I can see the Broncos doing what they usually do, which is hitting the score sheet first, and then the Sharks running away from it there. I mean, it's a reshuffle, as you mentioned. I do really like the fact that they've put in Tracy at 7, though, because I think a lot of coaches would make that rash decision of pulling Johnson out of the 6 jersey, putting him in the 7, and have him as the dominant ball player, which, as we've seen in the last few weeks, Johnson is enjoying having that free run and that running ability, and he's just carving up. He's back to Sean Johnson of old. So I'd be tempted to say Sharks to win both halves and Johnson on an anytime try scorer. I just think as those Broncos forwards start to tire through the middle, Johnson's got the footwork, he's got the ability, and he's got the confidence now. The confidence is the main part for me, where you saw it last week. He will take it at the line, almost teasing those bigger bodies, come out and get me, and then he'll either turn the ball up on the inside for one of their rampaging forwards, or he'll back himself through the line. And I expect Johnson will have a few attempts at backing himself through the line this week.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with your Sean Johnson pick. As you were saying it, I had written him down at 375 as anytime try scorer. Looking at the odds, again, 375 gives you the Sharks -4.5 with the over at 43.5. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. That's why I'm not going the margin on this one for some great value. But 375 gives you the Sharks for a converted try or more on the win, over 43.5. I don't really think I can argue that one, even with the Broncos games. You know, the lowest scoring game was 34 points in a soggy win against the Dogs. You've got 2 games of 42 points against New Zealand and the Gold Coast. The previous games have gone under. 4 of the last 5 have gone under. I will say that. So keep that in mind. But the current attacking form of the Sharks, it just screams over on the points. So -4.5 and 43.5 on the doubles market at 375 for me. I don't think you can get it any better on the same game multi. We'll have a quick look. But for Matty, both halves at 287. I think that's a good shout as well. I think you have every opportunity there of getting up on that. Over 43.5. Yeah, the doubles market pays better at 375. So if you can get on that early, I absolutely would on mine. We're both going Sharks. Spoiler alert, if you don't want to go through the tips for the rest of the week, we're going Roosters, Raiders, Panthers, Eels, Storm because, well, we all agree. So stay tuned if you want tips.
Yeah. And with that, then we will move on to the next one.